Okay, true crime fans. This is me, Patti Lee, at the True Crime Grapevine. We are doing our first case in episode 18. And this is the case of Racquel Sabean, and the alleged perpetrator is Tyler Adams. And this story is crazy. So I'm using 19 crimes. I don't know if you can see that. 19 crimes. It's a 2020 red wine. You know, what a great year, right? Using my, let's just pour a little bit. Okay, this is the first flight out of about 6 or 7, so I'm still coherent. Cheers. Drink up. So, 19 Crimes is it's a red, so it's deep. It's got a definite oaky flavor. I don't know about the legs on it. I mean, and it's not expensive to buy. I don't have a sophisticated palate. So, there's that. Drink up and let's listen in. So, Racquel Sabean, it seems that she met a man. Now, she didn't know him as Tyler Adams. Her family thought his name was Phillips because that's what he was using. In fact, Tyler had lots of names and was in lots of trouble. And I chose 19 Crimes because I really can't believe this is the first time we're hearing about this guy. He has a life of crime, basically. But now it looks as if he's committed the big M. He's unalived, it appears, his girlfriend. So they had a 7-month-old baby named Valentino, and she is safe. From what we know, they crossed. It was confusing because I was like, is one of them of like have Mexican citizenship, because this involves Mexico, but no, they're both American. In fact, she's a vet of she's a Navy veteran, and it's in San Diego. So I believe, if I'm right, San Diego has a huge naval base there. And this man, Tyler Adams, or his real name is Kevin Michael Schoolcraft from Pennsylvania. That was his given name. He went west to California in his 20s and changed his name there to Tyler Adams, but then went on to commit many and multiple crimes and has used many different names we'll get into. But he met recently, it seems like in 2020, what had to be. So he escaped from Honolulu work furlough program where he was supposed to be doing 10 years for fraud. He escaped Honolulu, went back to San Diego, it appears. That was in May of 2019. So somehow in either late 2019 or early 2020, he meets Racquel Sabean, a U.S. Navy veteran. I sort of pieced together the time because their baby is 7 months old. So if you go back from when the crime committed, the baby's 7 months, and then I added on 10 more months to figure in, because even though we say there's 9 months to pregnancy, it's closer to 10 months when you figure it out. And also like them having maybe known each other a short time. So it must have been that they met right before or as COVID was starting. So maybe that explains why she got with such a, I don't know. It's very strange. He is 50. She was in her 30s, and what they think her remains have been found. So they had this baby. They seem to have gone, I think he was getting in trouble for being missing out of Hawaii. So once things opened up and, you know, there was more information being shared and we weren't so focused on what was happening, you know, with COVID and the pandemic, it looks as if that's, somebody was keyed into him, and he was running towards Mexico. So on April 17th, he used the name Paul W. Phillips, and he and his girlfriend with the baby crossed over into Mexico. So, and he was a fugitive from Hawaii, so they feel like that's why he used the name Paul W. Phillips. his girlfriend was found, or there were remains found under a blanket in her car. So they must have used her car in Tijuana, and they think it's her. Now, at that time, they put out, and how sad is that? Meeting the wrong guy can literally be the death of you. The baby there was an Amber Alert then by the Mexican police put out for the baby. They found the baby with a woman who had no idea that, it's not clear who this woman was, but she did not know there was a problem. She had no idea about, the mom being unalived. So the baby is safe. Now, they're still looking for him. This is really weird. So they found the baby with the Amber Alert. The Mexican authorities also did locate him. So don't think you're going to run to Mexico and get out of things. Mexico, number one, extradites. So it's not a place you think you might be able to hide, I guess. But unless you have connections to the cartels or something, I don't think you're really hiding there. So he was found. Now, so he was considered a suspect, and he's also a fugitive from Hawaii. So he was being extradited back into the U.S. So the Amber Alert, God, I'm talking like a crazy person. The Amber Alert was June 8th. So they were there about just a month. June 15th, he was found. Now, June 16th, this is what I don't understand. They found him. They were extraditing him. They took him to the U.S. Border and Patrol, but somehow during the transfer, he gave a different name. I think he's he's obviously, as I'll tell you his past crimes, he's a con man, and he must be very charming. But he gave the name, I can't believe you can just give another name. So he gave the name Aaron Bain, Aaron spelled A-A-B-A-I-N. So Aaron Bain, if you meet somebody named Aaron Bain, I don't know how you can figure out who he is by name, though, so he crossed the border on June 16th. So somehow him giving a different name to somebody, I don't know if he was in a pen awaiting crossing, if the Mexican authorities had dropped him off, started paperwork, he was moved, and then he just very convincingly lied about, well, I'm Philip, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, well, we don't have paperwork for you, goodbye. I don't know, it seems really weird. So his past crimes, when you look into this, because all the news articles, especially what we call legacy media or traditional media, are calling him this name. What are they calling him? A name, though, it's a name he made up, the man of many disguises, but he made up that name. He's a con man who he doesn't have really disguises. He looks about the same. He's been doing this. He started getting caught in his 40s, even though he started criming in probably his 30s. But by the time he was caught, he was 40. He's 50 now. So he's aged like any of us. And in his picture in Mexico, he had these swollen eye things. Definitely looks like he got work done, like filler. That's what it looked like to me. He is from Pennsylvania, was named Kevin Schoolcraft, and then when he moved, I don't know, there's also a Yale picture of him. I don't know, he started figuring out basically how to, if you could start a business, then you can get a loan, then you can start getting money from banks, then you just don't pay back anybody, you just get the money. That's the conning banks out of money with fake businesses. And he started it looks like his first big con was his stepfather from Pennsylvania, and his mom. He said he wanted to start a business doing real estate out in California after he moved there. He got his stepfather to give him his power of attorney and his social security number. So for everybody who's listening, if you're new, like and subscribe. But I always say, what can we learn from any case? Here's what we can learn from this Tyler Adams case. You don't give anybody power of attorney, not even your kids, unless you're dying, I guess. But and you don't give them your social number. And if they say they're gonna, like, they need a clean start to do a business, why do they need a clean start? The answer is no. If you want to give them some money, fine. I can't tell you not to do that, but for God's sakes, don't ever give anybody your social number and power of attorney. So once he had those two things, he was able to buy multiple properties in La Jolla, in downtown San Diego, around that area. He bought 5 different properties. He was renting out some and getting money, but he's also started fake businesses like located in these properties, and he was getting, you know, a lot of money from these fake businesses. He was able to take out loans, and he looked like he had all this property. So he was just basically lying. That led to, that was like $180,000 worth of fraudulent money gotten from the loans. And then it said he ran up more than $3 million in debt to it through 48 felonies. Now, the $3 million, I'm not sure exactly how they're calculating that, because the banks, maybe it's the banks with the properties, but it was when he got caught, and he got caught relatively quickly in California, and he got a 14 year sentence. And then Hawaii, he was caught in like 2009 for doing this. And it said he started it in 2008, right? I'm sorry, he started it in 2016 is when he talked his stepfather into letting him borrow his good credit rating so he could buy acreage in San Diego. So that's when all the trouble started. So Donald Chafee was his father, his stepfather, and then he said, well, I need the power of attorney, blah, 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 blah. Social card, don't do that. So then between 2006, by 2008, 7, excuse me, the father-in-law's like, hey, my credit rating's ruined, and he's trying to stop them. And so he's making complaints and telling people this is what I did. So Tyler bought properties and collected. Oh, so here's what he did. He bought these properties, and he said he wasn't really a real estate agent, but he said he was somehow, and a loan officer. So the guy is pretty smart because he's learning and figuring out how this system works, and then he's lying about who he is. So he got both commissions and paid as the loan officer and the real estate agent for these properties. So that was $180,000 of those commissions. He defaulted on 5 mortgages, although he did get rent, so that was more money. So yes, by 2007, so he was only doing it a year, I guess. It sounds like it was a little bit more, I would think, but then in 2008, he flees to Hawaii using the name Kevin Kennedy. He goes there. Then he uses like 3 other names and goes to law school. And I think probably what he was doing was using fake names, and then getting getting student money to go to law school, and never did. But he had a law school ID. And he also registered 4 fake businesses and a charity. Oh, and stole a diamond necklace from Costco, because why not add jewel thief to your bank fraud and your scams in real estate. So then in 2009, he was caught. So he was first arrested in California. So after he got in trouble in Hawaii, he fled back to California. So he's arrested in California. They give him a 14-year sentence, but that happens like in 2012. And then in 2013, his Hawaiian court case, and they gave him 10 years. That would happen after he did his time in California. So somehow, I don't think he did all his time in California. When he went to Hawaii, that's where they gave him work furlough, probably because it was a white collar crime, and he just left. Like, he just leaves all the time. I mean, he's got a million different names and leaves. So, yeah. He ruined his parents. just took everybody's money, runs back and forth between Hawaii and, California, taking out loans as a student, taking out loans for fake businesses, taking out loans for charity. I mean, he obviously figured out the bank system. He tried to figure out the legal system because they said he represented himself in California case. It started in 2009. It took 3 years, even though it was a simple, not simple, but it was, on paper, white collar crime case, because he tried to represent himself and then didn't. Other lawyers represented him. He did the Lori Vallow / Letitia Stout thing. It's probably more like Letitia Stout in the Gannon Stout case in Colorado, which is, she keeps messing around with their lawyers, trying to represent herself, doesn't represent herself, and then says, I need to be mentally evaluated. These are all things that gum up the system and slow it down, and it's game playing. So I guess if you're a sociopath, you don't care, right? And he was always, like Letitia, found to be competent. So, and then he ran away when, I don't know how much time he did in California. It couldn't have been all of it because that was supposed to be 14 years. And then they sent him to Hawaii, and he left in 2019. He escaped in May of 2019 from his work furlough program. So, back to, it appeared, obviously, he went back to California and met, and then COVID hit. So, we weren't looking as hard, and, he's big, huge state jumps using different names. Oh, his aliases are Aaron Lee Bain, Aaron Lee spelled with just one R, Paul Wilson Phillips, David Phillips, David Smith, Joseph Smith, Dominic Braun, Kevin Schoolcraft, which was his real name, Kevin Kennedy, Michael Whitman, who went to law school, Lance Irwin, who also went to law school at the same time in Hawaii, so that was obviously a scam, Bryce Johnson, Matthew Kashini, that guy also went to law school, and Taylor Chase, which seems applicable, right? Because we're chasing him everywhere. So his legal name that he changed in the 1990s in California was Tyler Adams. So that's who we say we're looking for. So it seems like I told you this at the beginning. So during COVID, he gets with this Racquel Sabean, who is a Navy vet. She probably had money, right, from being a veteran. Probably what he was after. Probably had real estate. They get married. They did not get married. They have a baby. Then they find him. They go on the run, and suddenly she's unalived in Mexico. The baby is found. He's supposed to be transported back, and they lose him at the border. And that is where we stand. So, Tyler Adams, Tyler Chase, Tyler, Kevin Schoolcraft, Kevin Michael Schoolcraft, you son of a gun. We'll get you. They'll get you. They got you before. At this, now, you're going to be locked up for good. And I hope they throw away the key. This is just my speculation, right? This is the grapevine. I'm telling you what I have squeezed. It is my speculation. It is my theories. I can't say this is, you decide, right? Okay, so, to the Sabean family, who are understandably bereft to have lost their daughter. I believe they are getting custody of their granddaughter back from the Mexican authorities because she was kept safe there. To the Sabean family in San Diego, we are sorry. And we are praying for your daughter, and we pray that this Tyler Adams / Kevin Michael Schoolcraft is locked up for good. All right, true crime fans, that was our first flight. It was 19 crimes because Tyler's committed at least that many. If you like a red and you don't want to pay a lot, I think it's got a little oaky flavor. You will like it. And I'll see you if you catch up with us in case 2 of episode 18. Bye.